Hello and welcome to Gag of the Millennial, a show where we talk about pop culture,
current events, and spill the hot English breakfast tea right in your lap.
and Scaldy Roldy. And in today's episode, we are talking about dating.
Dating!
Yes! Well, where do we start? Gosh. So I think with this topic, we should literally start from the very, very, very beginning of when we were little tiny, little ants walking along, trying to make a home.
Okay, well, I've never really associated with the ant people of Devon, so...
Oh god, yeah, the ant people of Devon. Triggered. Yeah, so I'm from Devon, if people didn't know.
I'm from Brighton.
Brighton, and I'm from Devon, yes. It's quite different cultures, definitely.
Yes, I would definitely say they probably... I've been to Devon a total of once in my life.
And there's a reason she never went back.
Okay, so when was the first time you ever had, like, intimate adult feelings for someone?
So this is going to sound really wrong, and I know it's going to be gross. I remember, so this is the first time I ever really thought about anything, I'm not saying necessarily sexual, but like attraction towards someone. I used to watch WWF wrestling. So this is like, so, I know, you pulled that face. So back when it was called WWF, now it's called WWE or something, or whatever it is. So I remember I used to watch them, like, these guys, like, wrestle, and like I used to be really
that was kind of hot, though.
It was kind of, so I remember, I must have been a baby, like 5 or 6. And I remember being like, no,
okay,
because it wasn't like a sexual thing, like, oh, I want them to do things to me, because obviously what 6-year-old thinks of that? But like, I remember I was very, very taken away by, I think it was Bret the Hitman Hart.
Oh, you can even name them.
Yeah, I remember, and I was always like, ooh, I quite liked looking at him, and I was very attracted to, not again, I was intrigued by the body of like this guy.
Yeah.
And I remember that was like the first little twinge in my head. It was like, oh, this is what I was attracted to. Obviously later in life I understood what it was. But I remember that like 5 or 6 years old, I remember just watching wrestling and like, I was just very attracted to like his body and like other guys who would wrestle each other.
I kind of see what you mean with the bodies of wrestlers though, because I definitely have a type, and I would say that probably wrestlers fit into that type.
Yeah.
We'll get into what types we like later, but that was the first ever real thing.
That's the earliest memory I can think of actually being attracted. Like, obviously, I didn't understand what it was, but now that I'm older and I can understand, like, oh, that's what that was, that sort of, that feeling of like, ooh, I quite like the way that this looked. It wasn't a sexual thing, because again, what child thinks of that? But I just remember seeing it and was like, oh, this is something that I like.
I was a very nervous child. I
Was
was like very worried about everything in the world. And I was also a very confused, lost child. And we all know why now. But at the time, I don't think I really even had feelings until I was about sort of 10, 11, 12.
Oh, okay.
I want to say, so I was quite a sort of like a late bloomer in that sort of sense. I've always been a real late bloomer anyway, just in like literally everything in life. I remember being vehemently like, I want to be attracted to women. And so this created a whole different kettle of babies at the time. But I was very, very, very...
I've never heard anyone say kettle of babies.
I don't know
that
why.
That sounds a bit sadistic, doesn't it?
I don't know where that saying came from, but it's my favourite. I had a very interesting attraction in terms of like, I don't think I really even like sexually awakened until I was like 14, really. But I had more of the feeling of like, I think it was more like, I want to be you rather than I want to be with you.
Okay.
To girls. As I've grown up and as I've done like medical treatment and stuff, my hormones have changed.
Yeah.
And actually I've found my sexuality has fluctuated within those hormonal changes, which is a whole different kettle of babies.
Kettle of babies.
Which I really want to mention later, because I think a lot of people think that sexuality can be pretty firm and like you like what you like, but it's really shocking just how much hormones play a role in that. I mean, obviously it makes sense as well, but like the mental stimulation changes.
Well, definitely. I think for most people who don't transition or don't take other hormones, like it makes sense for why their sexuality would just really stay put, or like what they've been destined wherever they've been born and stuff. But I think if you're putting would it count as a foreign substance? It's not what your body would naturally produce.
Well, mine actually does naturally produce it, because I'm not quite the same as every other trans person. I'm not the same as other girls.
She's a special snowflake.
I haven't admitted this on the internet, so I'm probably not going to admit it in this video, but there is a reason as to why I produced estrogen, as like high levels of estrogen and high levels of testosterone. When we were little, I never really had that sort of sexual awakening until I was a bit older. And then I started dating probably around about, I think 13, I sort of was like, and I don't think I had an initial like, I want to be in a relationship. I think it was like, everyone at school was like, who are you seeing? You know, what's going on? You're going out with blah. And I was just kind of like, I need to be involved in this in some way. So I had like a girlfriend, but not really like a girlfriend as I would think of it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so So I'm going to talk about my first kiss.
Yes,
yeah.
Oh,
So,
yes.
My first kiss, just because you said about 14, I was like, it's getting ahead of this game.
Okay.
So my first kiss was with a girl called Jessica Knight.
What a lovely name.
Yeah, we were in primary school, and I pretended that I was really sick and I couldn't do PE. So in America, for PE is like physical education, like gym, as you call it. So like,
I was always sick. I never did PE.
and so it was really weird. Like this would never happen now. Our teacher, Mrs. Bellis,
Miss Bellet.
how disgusting, Miss Bellis. She said that I could stay in the classroom while like the people weren't going to. Like,
Oh my gosh.
You would never just leave
So
a kid.
illegal.
Yeah, you would never just leave a kid.
Bye.
So my friend Jessica was like, "Oh, can I stay and look after him?" And for some weird reason, Miss was like, "Yes, it's fine."
Yes, queen, get that
sauce.
sauce.
You're disgusting.
Why is it? I was going to say sausage, which is even worse.
I
know.
So I must have been about maybe 7 at this point. I can't, 6 or 7. It was.
Oh,
like
so this is like primary school.
Yeah. So they were doing a gym, and I was sitting there with Jessica, and for some weird reason we were like, "Should we kiss?" And we did like it was just literally just like it was. Everyone's watching SoundCloud, you can't see, but like it was just like a peck. It was like that. It was so weird.
Was there a spark? Were there fireworks with Jessica Knight?
No, because I left that school quite soon after that. She triggered me and I had to leave. No, because
scandal.
So when I moved to my grandparents, I moved to the school that was by there. It was science school, so I didn't actually stay in the school much longer. So that was my first kiss. And obviously it didn't really do anything for me. And obviously I'm obviously a queer, so
I'm sure most people have their kiss, like a pecky kiss about that sort. Like, did you ever play kiss chase or anything?
Yeah, all the time.
Played kiss chase. That's
Yeah.
stupid. What's the point of running away? All the girls were like, "Let's play kiss chase," and then they'd be like, "No." It's like, well, just go away.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was not a very. I was about to say attractive child. That's not what I mean. But you know, like I was one of those cute children that's like no one really likes.
Were you the smelly kid? Is that why?
No, how dare you.
There was always a smelly kid.
There was. In fact, we had one that was just like the poo child.
The poo child. So we had
It was
piss
just always like.
kid. We had the guy who smelled like piss all the time.
Every school had a poop child, piss kid, horse girl.
Horse-
Every single school
For a
had
second
this.
though, we said whore girl. I was like, well, we had them as
We
well.
had them, yeah. A little bit later down the line, maybe. I remember the first kiss that mattered. The first kiss that I had that I really, really actually had like butterflies about. And this is about my ex, who it wasn't actually a very good relationship. It was kind of a crappy relationship. And looking back on it now, I'm like, why on earth did you ever let this human being treat you like this? But at the time I was like, I love you. You're so important to me.
You always have that when it comes to your first
it's
kind of.
so ridiculous.
Yeah, you always have a messy relationship.
And we only dated for 16 months, but I was like, this is
That's a long
the
time.
one. Yeah, but not now. I'm in a relationship now for 7 years. But I feel like I'm skipping ahead a little bit too fast in this story if I start talking about that important kiss right now.
Oh, okay.
All I'm going to say is that I did have a kiss where sparks flew.
And that's because she had a sparkler in her mouth.
Yeah, I was actually just having a taser moment.
Jailhouse stories of Luxeria.
Oh my God, can you imagine if I'd been to prison? I'd be currency.
Oh, you would? So would I.
It'd be
Always
awful.
like the femme people are passed around like bread and butter.
No.
The first girl I ever dated was called Martha. And we were...
The 86-year-old next door.
Yeah. So we were in year... Gosh.
Granny next door.
This would have been year 6 and she was in year 5. Yeah, I was a sugar daddy.
That bitch.
Yeah, I was that bitch. We were less than a year apart, like age-wise.
That's what they all
I'm
say.
justifying like a 10-year-old going...
Relationship.
justifying like a 10-year-old, 9-year-old relationship. Can you imagine? So I remember we dated for like a week. And one of my
Which
friends...
is a long time when you're 8.
Yeah, and one of my friends, actually, Rebecca, she fancied me at the time. And like Martha...
Love triangle.
Yeah, Martha
What will Martha do?
Yeah, Martha was convinced that I was cheating on her with Rebecca. Like literally,
EastEnders is quaking.
Exactly, like literally, like these 10-year-olds, like yes, we're having affairs at 10-year-olds. Such like I literally didn't, but I thought it was funny. It was just like I can't believe at 10 we're having like a Jeremy Kyle moment. where
I'd
it's
love
like-
to be. Well, I was about to say I'd love to be involved in an affair now, but no, I wouldn't. But you know what I mean? Like, oh, the drama of it all.
That was so weird. But yeah, we were only together for like a week. Martha broke up with me at the end of the week because she thought I was cheating on her Rebecca. I wish I did that at this point. Wish I didn't make out with
Jeremy
her.
Kyle, lie detector test. Did you cheat?
No.
No.
Lied. So that was like my first. I remember that was my first ever relationship.
I'm surprised you can remember all these people's names. I'm like desperately trying trying to remember the name of my first one. I think my first girlfriend was called Jamie. She was kind of a little bit scummy. But I was like super into
Was
like
she the piss
trying
child?
to No, I think she was just a bit slow.
Okay.
And I don't mean this in like a really offensive way, but you know, you just meet some people and you're just like, you're not going to be a mathematician, are you, sweetie?
Yeah, I'm sitting next to one.
Excuse me. I was just like deeply invested in being like, I'm not gay, I need a lady. Even though I literally had like long blonde hair and would like brush it in the bathroom, the boys' bathroom, being like, oh, I love my hair, I'm so beautiful.
I'm surprised you didn't get beaten up.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. I have many of these problems. I had like gender problems forever. And I never really realised what it was until I was like 22 years old. She was friends with this girl called Bryony who got expelled from the school for dealing cocaine, so...
What the hell?
I know.
What kind of school did you go to?
Honestly, I went to the school where someone got stabbed.
I thought when I went to school in Brighton, it would be like posh and fabulous. And then I'm thinking like my school would be trashy.
Oh no, sweetie, darling. Knife crime, raping. There was also teachers dating students. Like, it was very dramatic. Oh yeah, and then I wrote her a note being like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And then all of her friends were like, horrifically mean to me for the rest of my time at that school. And that was like 4 years I had of that. And they were awful to me. So kind of dodged a bullet there, I guess. I don't know. It was very, very problematic. That was probably my first peck. And that's probably why I don't really remember it until you start speaking about something and then all the memories come flooding back.
It does.
Because it wasn't that important and it wasn't that great and I didn't enjoy it. And it was just kind of like, oh no, I'm kissing the slow girl.
The first kind of like stuff, more sexual or more kind of adult, I would say that I remember, I'm not going to use their name, but I had a guy who was a friend of mine. When we were going to his house, we were talking about like masturbating, and we're talking maybe about 13 or 14. And I remember like, we kind of just like did it in front of each other. That was like an odd thing because I'd never really, this is like the first kind of like in life physical
adult relation
with a guy. Like, we didn't do anything to each other, but just visually seeing that in real life, it was kind of like, oh. Because I don't know how to explain it because obviously I'd never did anything before, and like, I talked about being attracted to guys, you know, when I was younger, but like nothing ever happened. So this was like the first time I'd really kind of looked at someone's body and looked at someone and been like, oh, I quite like this. And we ended up sleeping together like later in life, but like, I feel like queer people in schools, without necessarily knowing it, tend to get together. Not necessarily sexual, but like, I feel like you kind of seek each other out without really realising that you've kind of...
Actually, I would agree with that, because I had a best friend that came out as a homosexual.
I do feel like that tends to happen, and hopefully if anyone else is watching this actually has this kind of same experience where like you just kind of seem to gravitate towards each other without really realising it. I remember like after then, I remember being over his house like a year later, and nothing had happened between us at this point. And then I remember he showed me porn for the first time.
Oh, right. That was something I was going to ask, actually.
Yeah, so like late 14, I remember watching porn for the first time, and that was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was like, I've never seen anything like this. And obviously, you got to remember that we're from a generation where sex education wasn't a thing for gay people.
Do you remember sex education classes?
I do remember
I had one.
We did have sex ed, but it was never anything I was really interested in, wanted to see, because it wasn't, you know, gay.
It was also
just
so cringe.
Yeah, it was, really, really cringe.
And it was completely very boringly heterosexual.
Yeah, so seeing porn, that was basically where I got all of my sex ed from, which is damaging in its own.
Absolutely.
And it's like, porn stars are obviously known that the guys always have like 10-inch penises and like all this stuff, completely unrealistic and completely like perfect physiques. It's slightly different now. Like I think there's like a weird, sort of, not weird, but there's like a thing of like...
amateur star.
Yeah, like that's
it's
more
the rise
common
of the
now.
amateur star, isn't it?
But so when I was younger seeing that, I remember it was like, wow. And then I remember the first time, so like we ended up like, we were watching it and, you know, doing what you normally would do when you watch it. And then it was kind of like, hands kind of slipped over their leg and sort of did it to each other.
Really?
Yes, I remember that was like the first time that me and him actually did something together. And this is like, yeah, late 14, kind of turning on 15. And that was kind of like my first experience properly with another guy. And it was like, yeah, this is when I knew. So this is when like the kind of the fighting because so I came out when I was 11 officially to my sister. I remember telling my sister when I was 11 years old that I liked guys. I said I was bisexual, but
that's so brave, though.
But the thing is, I came from a family where there was no hidden stuff. Like my uncle was gay, so I always knew someone else who was accepted.
I have no one in my family.
But like, it was when I went to high school and the bullying started, because when you're in primary school, like everyone's voices are still high. There isn't really, like, all the kids kind of get in on primary school. There are some bullying sometimes, but like in most primary schools and preschool, I guess for America, I'm not sure what they would call this.
Elementary school?
Elementary. Most kids kind of get on, like all of our, like there was only 62 kids in our primary school. So like it was still small.
Oh my
so
god.
Everyone kind of got on, so I was kind
there
of
was 35 people in my class alone.
Really?
And we had 3 classes.
Oh really? Okay, so we
that's insane.
so for me, I was in this kind of like little bubble, and I had lots of friends in primary school, and like I didn't have any segregation at all. So I kind of thought the world was a little bit more accepting than probably what it was. So when I went to high school and the voice started dropping, believe it, my voice has dropped, and all the stuff. That was when like the bullying started, because they could see that I was very different to them, and mannerisms started to kick in, and my feminine's kind of like, I've been a very expressive person with my hands, and I've always been very sort of like, you know, slightly bouncy with the way I walk.
Yeah.
And when that
exciting. You've always been an exciting, expressive person.
Yeah, so when that happened, the gay side of me, I was like, I cannot let this be shown by anything. So I suppressed it as much as I possibly could, dated loads of girls, just kept that aside. So when this happened, it was like, this is the first kind of thing I experienced properly for like years that was more than just like visually seeing like a wrestler or something. Like, so it was like, oh, like this is actually what I like.
So did that experience frighten you or scare you?
I don't think it frightened me. It was more of kind of like, wow, because it felt good. But then secondly, it was kind of like, there was a oh shit moment of like, oh, this is
something.
Yeah. So when you're like 15, 16-year-old, it was kind of nice to have someone who understood, who wasn't judging. Although he went through like a massive period of like, every time we would do anything after we'd finish, he would freak out. And it was that awful kind of like, we can't do this again, we can't, no, we can't, we have to stop. And to begin with, I did kind of agree with him. I was like, oh yeah, we can't, oh no, it would be bad. We have to have kids and be normal. But like, after a while, I was getting a bit annoyed with it, because obviously at this point, I was like 16, and I was really fighting it still, but also I was like, I want to keep doing it. It was almost like, I guess it's kind of like, it's almost a bit like a drug addiction, I guess. You'd get like a hit and then feel remorse afterwards for a while. So I dated a few more girls. My last girlfriend, she was called Rachel, and I was with her for 6 months. And she, obviously when you're 16-year-olds, girls kind of want to have sex, and like guys want to have sex and stuff. But when she tried to do anything with me, it was kind of like I was getting to a stage then where it was like, I actually really don't like this at all. Like when I was younger, I thought I did, but I think it was just because I don't know why, because I do think for that brief moment I was kind of okay with being with girls. But
that is a real thing that happens.
Yeah, I think as I got older and it became more serious with girls and not just hanging out with them and like maybe giving them a peck and actually to sexual things, it was like, this
the game has changed.
Yeah, like this isn't working. I used to like have to go to the bathroom and like mentally think about like men, play with myself for a bit, and then I would go back to her. And although we didn't have sex, it was just that kind of like knowing that she would think that I was like aroused. It was kind of like that was really awkward. And then I was in some sort of like, so basically I was 16 and we were kind of still together. It was a bit weird. I was at my friend's house and it was her and her boyfriend, me and Rachel, and we were all together. And for some bizarre reason, Rachel and the other girl dared me and Jake to kiss, and Jake was the other girl's boyfriend.
Juicy gossip.
And obviously I'd been with Rachel this whole time. So I'd stopped doing anything with the other guy as well. So at this point, I'd just been with Rachel for such a long time, I hadn't done anything with the guy. So I was dared to kiss Jake, and I kissed him. And after not being with the guy for so long and having to, you know, make out with Rachel and do all the stuff with her, it was like massive explosions in my head. It was like just one little peck with him was more exciting.
Was the firework moment.
It was like, you need to stop this now. Like, this is getting ridiculous. And then me and Rachel broke up quite soon after that. I would love to say that it was a happy ever after story. So we broke up. And then I was in some sort of like weird love triangle relationship with Jake and his girlfriend, and like she kept making us kiss for some weird reason afterwards, and it was really odd, it was really awkward. And then I ended up sleeping with Jake because he was bisexual.
Gosh, it's all kicking off in Devon.
Yeah, so I was like sleeping with Jake while he was with her, but then she was also sleeping with other people, and it was like a weird thing. And then I fell desperately in love with Jake, and it was like, obviously not real love, but it was like, you know, 16-year-old love.
Like, yeah.
And then he was like liking me, but he also liked her, and it was a really messy situation. But after year 11, which is our final year in like high school, we went to sixth form and he didn't. So we kind of went separate ways. And I did see him now and then, but like hardly ever. So this is 2006 now, late 2006. I I started saying to myself, right, you need to kind of make a decision now. Are you gonna, start... Be honest with people. Are you gonna start accepting yourself? So I found YouTube, and I found you, and I found a lot of the other people.
At 16, you
I
found
found,
me. Jesus.
I found you and a lot of like the other early YouTubers, which we're going to talk about in another video anyway. And so you guys were like my one side that I could be fine with and watch and be like, good, this is what I could possibly like. And then when I go to school, I wasn't dating girls, but I wasn't out. It was kind of just like a mutual. I just won't mention anything about relationships at all. And then 2007, when I turned 17, I made a deal with myself that any new person I met, I wouldn't say that I wasn't gay if they asked me. I wouldn't come out, but if anyone asked me, I'd be like, yeah, but don't tell anyone. So I remember Tom and Aaron were the two first people that asked me if I was gay or not, which I ended up dating Aaron, so Aaron was gay. So this is the thing, again, it's another one of those weird things of like, I feel like people just tend to, you just don't realise it happens. And our sixth form was still in the same school, so it wasn't like I went to a completely... Just for Americans, like who may not sixth form. So sixth form was like an extension to school. So it's the same as college, which is what, because I know you guys call college university. So this is like 17 and 18. So late 16, 17, 18 is like sixth form. The happy ever after story, which is a bit annoying. So Rachel, I missed out a massive part of a story.
Oh, nightmare.
Oh gosh. So I had another friend, Hannah, who's not been on camera. And so I meant to say this. So after I broke up with Rachel, I was really close with her, and at this point I was like, I'm gay, but I'm not going to do anything about it. But she was in love with me, and it was really awkward because like I didn't want to lead her on, but I also like loved hanging out with her. We were best friends and stuff. But like I knew that she liked me, but I was too scared to come out to her. In our last year of school, I stupidly asked her to go to prom with me. And I was like, we can go as friends, but it did not friends with her, and I broke her heart. It wasn't like it was not my fault. Like I tried to.
No,
It was an awkward situation. So dumb story back to when I was 17. So me and my friend Daniel used to go to Alton Towers together. Every single year, it was like a trip that we would take. And one year, Rachel came with us, who I dated. So we were on Daniel's bed. I was just on top of her, not doing anything. But like we were just like play fighting. And she just outright asked me, "Are you gay?" I don't know why she said it. And I was like, "Oh crap." I went along with it and I was like, "Actually, yes, I am." And she was like the first friend who was already in my life to know. She then went and told all of my friends, literally all of my friends. It was like you were put into a situation where like, it was like...
Your consent has been taken away.
Yeah, and not only did I feel incredibly violated, I was also terrified because I wasn't ready for all these people to know. Like, and I remember because we went to Alton Towers the next day, and every single time we were in like the queues and stuff, she would just openly talk about me being gay, and it was like
it was just so much.
It was too much too soon. I was terrified of people hearing. And like now, we can be in queues and be like talk about gay. It's fine. But back then, I didn't want the person there who I don't know, person behind me to know that I'm gay because it was so insecure about it. It really messed me up for a long time, and it made me retract into the closet a little bit because I wasn't ready. And so when I found out she told Maxine and Hannah and all these other people, it was just like, what's happening? What's going on? Because I wasn't ready for people to come up to me and talk to me about it. And because when you're bullied for something for so long, to suddenly be out with it and to validate sort of why they're picking, not why they're picking you, but the reason kind of...
Yeah.
It was very scary, and it was a horrible time. And I wrote her a really long email, because we had like a school email.
Did you scathe her a little bit?
Oh, I haven't spoken to her since.
Good, because that is a violation of like, I feel like it's a violation of a human right.
Yeah.
Because it is literally like putting you in a vulnerable, even though she might have just said it, like in a way, these sorts of secrets.
I know that she did it in a vicious way.
Oh, she did, for sure.
That's when things obviously started to change for me because I was out. So dating was a very different experience from that time onwards. Did anything happen between your last story and kind of when you're 17?
So I had that guy that I met outside, that I mentioned earlier, that I met outside of my school. So like, I can't even remember how I knew this person outside of school. I don't know where I met them. He was kind of a skater kid, and it was kind of a similar sort of idea. So I went over to his house to have like a sleepover in the garden in a tent. Already going very exciting, isn't it? Turns out he was a massive bottom. But it was just like, it was some of these things that was just, I can't quite remember how it evolved into this sort of friends with benefits kind of relationship.
It's bizarre how it happens, yeah.
There was absolutely zero kissing, and kissing to me was kind of disgusting.
Oh.
It still kind of is in a weird way to me, because it's like your mouth hole is connecting with my mouth hole, and I don't like that idea. I'm a bit weird about these
I'm really
sorts of
into
things.
kissing. I find it really...
Yeah, I'm just a bit weird and frigid about all sorts of things.
Sam was one of those people like, if I'm ever like, do you know sometimes when you just struggle to finish? Sometimes like, if you make out with someone, to me that's like the thing that can help me go, yeah, like the rest of
I'm
the way.
like so embarrassed talking about all this stuff. I can't believe
See,
it. I'm really like trying not to be like a frigid bitch and be like, can we stop, please?
I've never had like a sort of, I'm doing quotation marks for people on SoundCloud, like a slutty phase where I've slept with loads of people or whatever, or been that, but like I'm still very open about talking. Like I'm actually quite scared of sex. Like
Yeah.
I'm very scared about sleeping with people. I'm very like, I guess I'm a little bit frigid in that way as well. Like I'm happy to talk about it, but actually doing it, like I get really nervous, even now as a 29-year-old.
There's an interesting thing with me is that like, I felt very much the same. I felt very like nervous when I was living as a male, engaging in like illicit activities.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, there's a very like expectation when it comes to male roles. I suppose there's also an expectation when it comes to female roles, but like, sex as a girl is so much better than sex as a guy. Can I just phrase that and then move forward from that? Sort of around year 9, 10, so that's 14, 15, this friend outside of school. Don't know how I met them, started having friends with benefits, no kissing. It wasn't like full-on adult situations because when you first start like experimenting, you kind of don't really have any idea what you're doing.
Yeah,
I'd been
sure.
exposed to porn at this point, but I was still kind of like, you just don't know these kinds of things
Well,
until
yeah,
a bit later down the
sexual
line.
experiences you have is just a joke.
Everyone's like, oh, you'll lose your virginity, it feels amazing, like it'll be something forever. It's like, no, it's a struggle bus.
Yeah.
We're all driving the struggle bus off the cliff at this point. So yeah, it was almost not fun.
Yeah.
But I knew that I enjoyed it, which is, how do you rationalize those two things together? I don't know, but here we are. So that was my first real exposure, was him. I don't really have like a full-on timeline for this, but so I'm just gonna say like important experiences that I had. In sort of year 11, so that's 16-ish, 16, 17, I started going to beach parties with like the emo kids. And we had like a big emo scene in Brighton. Everyone was bisexual, absolutely everyone. You'd go and buy your crappy little bottle of £2.69 cider from the dodgy shop that would sell to you when you were 16 because they would just like turn a blind eye to you being under 18. You'd go down into the beach, get absolutely paralytic, lie to everyone where you've gone. And then you'd make out with everyone and it was amazing. And I used to only ever like get a bit flirty when I'd had a bit to drink because that's just what everyone does, I think. Like I'm totally not flirty when sober.
Yeah.
As soon as I've had a glass of wine, I'm like, oh, hello.
Hello.
You're looking very ravishing.
Look at my lady garden.
Maybe not that far. So I then didn't have a real relationship until I was 19. And I met this guy through Facebook. So I was big on YouTube at this point. Well, not big, but I was like bigly
I consider
triggered.
But for the time of YouTube back in this day, you would have been considered one of the famous YouTubers.
Oh, I don't think so.
Really? You were known by a lot of people. Like you.
I suppose so.
I mean, you got to remember, YouTube was very different back then. Like to be big, you didn't have to have millions. Like, she doesn't like praise at all. Whenever I say this kind of shit,
it's weird. I have such a weird relationship to my old life. I don't know. It's like praising it makes it feel legitimate, and I sort of don't want to give my old life legitimacy. What on earth is this?
But the funny thing
Time
is,
with Oprah.com.
like I've even said to you, like the amount of people that have commented on my videos, the ones that I've had you in, don't even realize it's you.
So at this point in my life, I was big into YouTube. I was getting a following on Facebook. I think I just hit, I think it was 19 or 20, and I just hit 100k likes on my Facebook page. What on earth? Like, can you imagine that? Like, I still have over 100,000 likes on that page. It's like, I haven't updated it for like 7 years or something ridiculous, but there we go. And so apparently to this guy, I appeared in his recommended to follow list. And so he clicked through, and then he one day just sent me a message saying hi. And I was like, so this guy's body was banging. He was a professional bodybuilder from London. He's actually a little bit famous, so I'm not going to mention his name and ruin his career.
I think you've showed me him, actually.
He doesn't want that to be revealed, but there we go. I identified as a male at this time, and he was like really hitting on me, and I was like, obviously this is like a fake profile or something. This isn't real. But we got speaking, and then I got drunk, which always happens, and then I was like, I'm going to really message you. And so I was really messaging through Facebook Messenger, and then I was like, let's have a video call. So I could be like, okay, this is a real human being.
Yeah.
And it was. And I was like visibly shook by this. And he was like super interested. So I gave him my number. And then the next day I was like kind of a little bit hungover, having lunch with someone at a little Japanese restaurant. And he called me and I was like, hello, who is this? And he was like, oh, we were talking last night. How are you? Is your head okay? Because you were a little bit drunk. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Bye. Like, really so, like, worried and nervous. And so I had, like, a really short, brief conversation, very much like, this isn't a real person talking. Like, what on earth did I say last night? Hashtag cringe. But then, like, he started really talking, was like, I really want to meet you. And I was like, okay, this is kind of like a real serious thing. I ended up falling head over heels for this guy.
And I bet he just wanted a casual.
It's weird because he was like, I am not bisexual. I am not homosexual. I am not anything. He had dated trans women before, but like, I was the first like visibly male person. And I was very, very androgynous. If you followed me for a while, you'll know this. So I was very sort of femboy. That was a whole different kettle of babies that I was dealing with my own identity at this point. But I was very, very vehement that I was male. And if you were going to be in a relationship with me, that was a gay relationship. I was really very much his bit on the side. And I kind of didn't see this. I was very much like, it's my boyfriend. Oh, we're in love. It's lovely. I saw him maybe like twice a week.
Yeah.
And this was before I moved to London. So he would like spend the money, come stay with me, book a hotel, all those sorts of things. I'd never had anyone book a hotel to come stay with me. First time he came down to stay with me, he stayed for 4 days and it cost him £680.
Oh,
and I remember being like, A, this person has money, what the hell? B, banging body. C, he actually likes me and wants to spend money on me.
Yeah.
Like, all these three things at 19 was like, I was like, I'm preparing to have my red carpet fantasy life. I'm a famous YouTuber. No one can stop me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, hashtag cringe now to think about it. But it kind of swept me off my feet. And I was very, very, very much like, I really like this guy. So many red flags in this relationship, but what's that phrase? When you have rose-tinted glasses on, they just look like flags?
Well, you had rose-tinted glasses, that's the same.
That's exactly what happened. So he was like super into his fitness life. He didn't drink, he didn't do anything. I was vegan at the time, so it was kind of a bit difficult because he was always like, I need to eat my chicken. And I was like, I'll have a pizza with no cheese on. Like,
pizza with no cheese on.
I know, like,
you're not in this program anymore.
Totally.
This is the gag of Roly now.
Yeah, it's like quite, I don't know how it worked, but it did. And then I moved to London thinking, oh, he's going to move in with me. I'm going to see him all the time. It's going to be amazing. He's going to want to take me out to lunch in the daytime. None of that happened. And the next year was very much like, stop texting me, I'm at work. Don't do this. I'll come over and see you tonight. I'll give you a call when I'm outside by myself. And I became very much the piece on the side. And slowly over time, I began to realize this. And actually, I'd already fallen for this person at that point. So I wanted to even strengthen and intense that bond. And I was like visibly, really actually quite upset that he was not treating me how I expected to be treated. One day he just called me and was like, it's not for me, actually. This whole gay thing's not for me. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I hung up the phone and I laid on the floor and cried like Kim Kardashian's messy crying face for about an hour. That really hurt. It broke my heart. And in a sense, that was my first like experience of heartbreak. And I think you always remember your first heartbreak.
Oh, well, I would have gone to, that's my next one that I'm going to talk about.
It literally like shakes your foundation of the world to experience heartbreak.
Because you think when you're young and you have like little sort of quotation heartbreak in school, it's not real. Until you know when you actually have it.
Like when you have a heartbreak, you can feel the feeling of your heart broken.
Yeah.
It's like this weird heaviness in your chest that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And it like creeps in you can be like making a coffee and just like
it gets you at weird moments.
It's
like
awful. You can be like, I'm just brushing my teeth and I'm just broken.
Yeah. So I didn't date anyone until I was 21. So I met someone through a mutual friend on the internet. I've actually done a video about him. And my friend James brought him into the conversation. And we had like a 3-way Skype. We were just like chatting and having stupid things. Me and the other guy got on really well. So we just gave each other like our details. And he messaged me once on Skype and we just started like just talking. And then we went video chat. And it was like an instant click. We just instantly got on. It was perfect. And this is still, I was 21 at this point. And so it was great. We sort of video chat for a while. And he didn't live in England. He didn't live in Devon. So he was all the way up in Cumbria. So it was a long way away from me. But we were like, oh, let's just see what happens. Like, we get anywhere. And we had a little discussion like, oh, are we like going out? Because this was about a month in. We were like, are we going out at this point? And he was like, oh, well, why don't we wait till we meet each other first? And then, so he came down to visit me. And again, instantly clicked. Everything was like perfect. And we got on really well. So we were like, yeah, we're dating now. And that kind of went back and forth a little bit. And we were together for 6 months. I went to go visit him a few times. He came and saw me. And it was really great. I'm not going to get too deep into it just because you can watch my video on it. But like, basically, he... finished with me about 6 months later. He was really like, started to get really distant. I didn't really understand what was happening because I thought we were getting on really well. And so when he broke up with me, that was my first kind of real punch because he was my first actual boyfriend. It was really horrible. And then he proceeded into emotionally abusing and manipulating me for an entire year afterwards. So basically he kept me as like a little side piece.
Actually, that's exactly what happened with me.
Oh, yeah, so he kept me for his little side piece. And then anytime I kind of went to not even just go out with anyone, or if I was ever with like another guy, even if they were just a friend,
yeah, showing interest,
he would instantly message me and be like, "Oh, talk to me."
Do you know this has got a word? It's called mate guarding.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and it's a psychological abuse thing that makes you feel like. Well, because it's stringing you along, essentially. Yeah. There are real repercussions from this.
So he did that to me for an entire year, and I was an absolute idiot and kept running back to him because I was like, oh, maybe there's still a chance. Because I was deeply in love with him. Like, he was my first proper boyfriend. I was like so sure that this was it. Looking back now, it's dumb, but like when it's your first relationship, as a gay person, I think, because it's so much harder to find.
Absolutely.
And so he did this for an entire year, completely manipulated me. 2012 was like one of the worst years of my life. I don't want to say the word depressed, but I was so sad the entire year. Constantly through that horrible, heavy feeling on my heart because I was so into him and I felt so used.
That's the gag, isn't it? You feel used,
yeah,
empty and used.
And he was, at this point, I'd started to gain a bit of a following on YouTube. Nothing massive, but again, for the time, it was, large.
It was substantial.
The only reason he kept me was because he wanted to get my following. And it was proven because towards the end, this is like sort of November-ish time, 2012, and I was starting to get a bit sick of it this time, which is kind of good. But he asked to make a video with me. I did all my stuff that he wanted to do, and I was like, I've got the footage for you, I'll send it to you now, and you can make whatever, you can put it onto your channel. And he was like, oh, aren't you going to put it on your channel? And I was like, well, why would I do that?
Yeah.
You said it was your idea. And then he was like, oh yeah, but I could do with the boost in subscribers, lol, as like trying to pass it off as a joke. And I was like, why would you say that?
That's
like, why would you say it to me? And then I told this to him, and then he like erupted in this like massive, I can't believe you would say that, blah, blah. Like, well, if...
That has a name as well. It's called an extinction burst.
I love that you know this shit. So like, I was like, why would you react like that if it wasn't true?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and
I was
that's
like,
an extinction burst. They have like a last oomph of like, why are you not doing what I want you to do? And that is like, oh, you've been wanting me to do things, have you?
And that was the last straw. And I was like, do you know what? I do not want you in my life. And that was my last little light bulb moment. So that was like my first boyfriend experience, and it was kind of left me a bit shitty. But it taught me a valuable lesson because another guy that I dated after that tried to do the same stuff. It wasn't clout chasey, but the same manipulation. And I shut it down instantly.
You can see it.
I noticed it, and I was like, nope, bye. Yeah.
So there is actually something that I really wanted to mention about dating as like an adult, especially someone who was androgynous or is androgynous. Used to be androgynous. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, my life. After that, my first boyfriend, basically, I sort of fell quite into the trans scene in London. Being androgynous, I used to go to a club called Tranny Shack and like be around other trans people. If anyone doesn't know anything about trans dating, there are some like pitfalls and like minefields. You really need to navigate it quite well. So there are these things lovingly referred to as tranny chasers. They fetishize trans women to like the nth degree, and they will do anything that a trans woman asks them. It kind of verges a little bit on dangerous as well because they are like violently obsessed with you. And there is this scale. There's like someone who's just like a gentle admirer who's a bit creepy, and then there are people that are like, I'm gonna follow you home because I've never seen someone like you before.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like mugged on my doorstep like several times because of this, because someone will not leave you alone, and I've been like, I have to like take several wrong turns to try and be like, I'm avoiding this person. It's frightening. It's frightening dating as a trans person. There has been a few times where I've thought, this is the end of my life. Trying to date after that boyfriend who I thought had treated me quite well, I still hadn't quite healed. Dating became very, very difficult. I'd seen like a few guys that I was kind of interested in. Oh, it was awful though. So I just ended up going online and joining lots of like trans-specific dating websites. And the weird reality is, dating as a man to dating as a trans girl is kind of like going from being in a buyer's market for buying a house to being in a seller's market, because when you want to buy something, you have to put your offer forward and it can be rejected. Whereas when you go to sell something, there are streams of people that are interested in what you have to sell. And that was such a weird concept to me of being like, ultimately hugely desirable by a lot of people all of a sudden. Like if I wanted to have a hookup right now, I could go on an app and get one this second as a trans person. Because of the fetish aspect of it, I think it's very, very desirable in a weird, it exists in a weird bubble. Dating, like serious boyfriend dating or serious girlfriend dating as a trans person is on the whole much harder, I would say.
Yeah, no, I can,
That then requires lots of new skills that people perhaps aren't necessarily exposed to in a way that perhaps you are if you're just a regular gay person. I had a very difficult year in 2012 because my mum had just passed away and like I was moving out of London. I couldn't deal with the party lifestyle anymore. I was very much like, YouTube was going really good, but I was also very confused about where I wanted to go with YouTube. And then also was very confused in my self-identity, very much like, everything was just kind of going strangely. And I was at the age, in 2012, I was 23. At the age of 23, you're sort of like starting to settle in your mind a bit. And like you're starting to realize what adulthood is. All these things were really happening to me. And then of course my mum passed away and it like shook my world. But I just started talking to Andy on a specific trans dating, like trans hookup website actually. I'd never met anyone to hook up with. I was always just like, I like the attention because I'm quite frigid, but I like being told that I'm pretty. Who doesn't, let's be honest. We started talking and I actually, for the first time in history, sent the first message. He had a picture in which he had this really nice like underwear just peeking out of his jeans, I think they were. And they were like England shorts. And I remember thinking, oh, that's cute. How unusual. I never see that. So I was like, I said something like, nice shorts. And that was it. I wasn't like, hi, hello, how are you? Like how I would speak to someone now. Because if someone just said to me like, nice shorts, I'd be like, ignore. But like, he was like, oh, thanks. You have nice hair or something. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So we just started talking. Then we agreed to meet up like a month later. I think I kind of put a bit much on him at the beginning. And I would never expect someone to have stayed with me like he did, because I was quite a messed up person for a long time. The one thing I will say is that because our housing contracts were kind of getting a bit messed up because we were both towards the end of our tenancy, we decided to move in together. And I think we might have moved in a little bit too soon. Because we were still learning about each other. I think we'd only been dating for like 4 months. And then we decided to move straight in together.
Oh my God,
So it was like quite serious. And I would say now that's probably the one thing that I would say is probably I maybe have made it a year before moving in with each other, that kind of thing. I mean, we probably still would be together and in the same thing now, but I think just for like being in a better mental space for me, that would have been a better option. I met him as a man still, as a male, as a boy in makeup still, and he was perfectly fine to take me out and hold hands with me walking in London. And I was like, shook the house, boots.com. I'd at this point never done any, what's it called? Public displays of affection. PDA. I'd never done any PDA with anyone. I was like, oh my God, people are going to beat us up in London. That never happened. He's like a 19-stone bodybuilding powerlifter, like who was a martial art expert. No one's gonna mess with us. But in my head, I was like, oh no, the people, the papers are gonna slate me. I'm a YouTuber. I can't do this.
Muscle at the press.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how I felt. And it was really learning how to be in a relationship is part of being in a relationship as well. Especially for someone who is, or people that are atypical in sense of like being part of the LGBTQIA community, because there are literal repercussions to holding hands in public.
Straight people
don't get it.
I'm sorry, but like, you do have no idea what it's like to be scared to hold your partner's hand. My last boyfriend, who I recently had a year and a half ago, I met him through Instagram. He just messaged me and DM'd me and was like, oh, I can't remember how it started, but we talked about piercings and stuff, and then it kind of just carried on and escalated, and before we knew it, we were dating. But like, I remember when he came and visit me first time, and he grabbed my hand in public, and literally, it was like instant terror just surging through my body. Because I've never held hands with a guy in public before, and the fact that he just did it like normal, and I sort of was like, oh my God, this just happened, and then literally, I was like this.
Like panic attack.
It was that same feeling of like when Rachel was telling everyone in public that I was gay. It was that same fear, and that's just holding hands with someone. Like, people have no idea, and like, he turned to be a dick anyway. But like, so I'm not with him anymore. But like, that was a big eye-opener for how terrifying it is to be visibly gay, and not just like, because I look very gay, but like not just visibly gay, but like it like adds that level of kind of
Vulnerability.
yeah, because like you stand out so much more, and especially because we were both bald guys, and he was like, well, they were like boot people. He wore like big boots with
Like
like
a skinhead.
a bit like a skinhead, yeah, but like
Like
not,
a punk. Kind
yeah,
of punky.
we both stuck out anyway because of my piercings and my contact lenses and stuff, and I wear quite bright clothing, so it was like. It was scary,
Yeah.
and then a couple of times I was like, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't. But like dating now, like I am actually terrified of it because obviously
Dating is scary.
You're with someone and stuff, and like you just kind of we have different experiences now because I want a boyfriend. I want to be with someone now, like not in a desperate, needy way, but like I would like that now.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm 29 years old. It'd be quite nice to find someone.
Everyone
and, like,
deserves love.
I'm literally terrified of Tinder and all this stuff and matching people like and. I know this is my choice. I don't have to pierce myself. I don't have to make myself look the way I look. But like, if I wasn't like this, like, this makes me feel comfortable and more happy with who I am. But I know that the way that I look definitely,
It's a barrier to dating.
it definitely does hinder a lot of people wanting to be with me. I like this sounds so stupid, but like my most liked photos on Instagram are ones where I don't look like myself.
Yeah.
Like
Gag.
ones where I've like photoshopped on a bit of stubble, taken out my piercings and look normal. And then
There is a
liked,
mold. There is absolutely a mold that you should fit. Like I totally agree with it. There's even like a mold with trans women of like desirability.
I'm terrified of like going on and being rejected and stuff because I just know that it will happen a lot more than what maybe an average person would get just because they look more normal. And again, I know it's my choice, but like it's like a weird battle. It's like, do I continue modifying myself and being the way I want to because I know that it will hinder my chances. But then ultimately, if I don't do it and I go to more mainstream looking and take things out or look, like, will I then be unhappy because I don't feel comfortable with kind of how I look? It's like, it is a weird...
It's a compromise,
It's a really weird balance. And like, you know, I just have to kind of think what do I ultimately want in the end? And so I am scared of dating. I'm not going to lie, I'm very terrified. And I haven't been with anyone properly in a long time.
If anything was to happen to my relationship, I'm super frightened about dating because not only that, we're getting to an age now where it's like a lot of people have already coupled up.
Yeah.
And that is like a realization that you kind of have.
And when it comes to like dating and Tinder and talking to people, I'm always the person who has to message first. I'm always the person who asks the person out the date. I'm always the person kind of taking control. I'm like, why is this happening? And I don't know if it's because of my look. I don't know if I look like, especially now I've been going to gym and I have more of like a
You definitely have like an intimidation factor about you.
And I find it bizarre because I'm like, it's weird to have that role because I'm so...
You don't associate with it.
No, it's bizarre. And like recently I've actually been okay with it a little bit more, but it's like a weird thing of I've always been the one in control and it's like...
Would you like not to be?
It'd be quite nice for someone to... Not that I want someone to pay for me or someone to do this, but like, it'd be quite nice for once if someone was just to be like, do you want to do this? Should we go out? Like, and it's like, it's weird that I'm always the one doing it. And I know the amount of people who instantly think I'm a bit scary or it would be very kind of like... I get comments all the time on YouTube. I can't believe his voice sounds like that. Oh, he seems more bubbly than I thought he was going to be. I recently had one who was like, oh, who feels really bad of prejudging him already? I don't know if my dating profiles, like, I don't think I come across like... I have a laughing photo. My bio seems very sort of like playful. It doesn't seem, don't talk to me.
This is really interesting. We'd have to like ask like an independent adjudicator.
Yeah, like...
I think you have quite a strong look.
Oh yeah.
But your personality is very bright, bubbly and soft and pink and fluffy.
But I guess you wouldn't get that if you just look at photos.
Yeah. This is another thing with like photographic dating because it's a lie.
Yeah.
Everyone
lies.
But
also, this we spoke about this before. Like, I do get worried now, and especially because I am growing a lot. Like, will guys want to date me because clout chasing? Like, as much as this sounds big-headed or whatever, but like, I have to know now that I do have quite a large following on the internet, and like, people will like me. Like, oh, if I go out with him, I might grow something. Or if I take a photo with him on Instagram, like, and that is the scary part of online life. And I wouldn't change my life what it is because I love this job.
You need to just date people that are more famous than you.
Yeah, but it is a bit weird because I do worry sometimes that someone might be with me for clout or to be seen.
That is a legitimate concern.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people could view that as like, oh, that's not a real thing that happens. Bitch, it does.
Well, I've just had friends. I've had friends in my life who are no longer in my life who were trying to get clout. You can't tell me that guys who want to date you wouldn't want to do the same thing.
Yeah. People see something that you have that they want, they will go to extreme lengths to get it.
Yeah.
And that can even include lying to you, to date you, to get what you have. I am like awful with relationship dating advice because I'm like, what you need to do is stay in your house, never have sex with anyone because it's frightening.
Yeah.
Don't speak to anyone, just put on makeup and cry.
Who knows what the future for us will be?
Well, that's the gag of the millennial. Nobody knows.
I think just with the way social media is now, though, I think it's people you literally don't know anyone anymore.
And
you can
also,
you
you don't get to know them. You don't, like, lots of people don't want to put in the time to get to know people.
Yeah.
It's very much like, do you interest me? No, instantly. Like, this is the problem with Tinder. Like, swiping left is like, you have just disregarded an entire human who was like gestated inside a womb and like grew and went education and had life experiences, pets, animals, relationships, and gone. Next
I think
one.
that's the thing, like people, like
Makes people disposable.
and things like ghosting and stuff. I remember this one guy I was talking to, and we were sending like massive messages. It was like not just it was like full on essays. We were doing it for like a while, and then he just stopped out of nowhere, ran, and like. I was like, hello? And it's just like gone. And I was like, well, why would you put so... Like, it's not like it was like little vapid bits of messaging, like, hi, how you doing? Good, thanks you. It was like telling me about your life. It was like, I knew so much about it, and it was gone.
That's kind of weird.
And it's weird. It's like, why? I don't understand that. Go, just tell someone not interested. Like, what is the point in doing that and getting someone's hope? I don't understand that in the slightest. Like, why do that to someone?
Tinder and things are so difficult now because you can Photoshop pictures to be
Well,
like
the thing,
your
like,
absolute 10 out of 10.
People
all
link
the
their
time.
Instagrams, but then Instagram, like, so many edited photos, you make it look like your life is amazing. And it's you don't know people anymore.
Yeah,
It's
you
so
don't.
scary. Like, you just have no idea.
Manufactured perfect reality. And
Yeah.
this is why we're all depressed. We're all getting surgery because
Yeah.
everything's wrong and off. And,
And this
it's
is
like,
why
oh,
this is
it's
why
creepy.
one of the reasons why I really wanted us to do this, because I feel like it's definitely a look really into our lives and like more of our personalities. And people have said this, like, appreciate it in our comments before. Like, this is why I've enjoyed doing this so much. We've only done a couple episodes now, but it's so real. Like, I love my edited videos. I love all the jump cutting. I love all the crazy sort of editing and like, you know, the funny jokes, but like it's not 100% real because
it's not.
it's an edited version of myself, and like these show real us.
Yeah.
Like this is
the difference between entertainment and almost like autobiography.
Yes, for sure.
Well, thank you for listening to us waffle about dating.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea if this is shared any advice to
Yeah,
anyone.
I don't know.
If you've had any interesting experiences dating that you think we'd like to read, though, please leave them in the comments.
Yes,
'cause
please do.
Dating is a very universal yet also unique and individual thing. Everyone's got their own little tidbit, and everyone's got the creepy ex.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the weird situation.